Matthew 28, and it's verses 1 through to 10. After the Sabbath, as the first day of the week was dawning, Mary Magdalene and the other Mary went to see the tomb. And suddenly there was a great earthquake, for an angel of the Lord, descending from heaven, came and rolled back the stone and sat on it. His appearance was like lightning, and his clothing white as snow. For fear of him, the guards shook and became like dead men. But the angel said to the women, "Do not be afraid. I know that you are looking for Jesus who was crucified. He's not here, for he has been raised, and he has said, 'Come, see the place where he lay. Then go quickly and tell the disciples, he has been raised from the dead. And indeed, he is going ahead of you to Galilee. There you will see him. This is my message for you.' So they left the tomb quickly with fear and great joy and ran to tell his disciples. Suddenly Jesus met them and said, 'Greetings.' And they came to him, took hold of his feet, and worshipped him. Then Jesus said to them, 'Do not be afraid. Go and tell my brothers to go to Galilee. There they will see me.'"
Well, I'm suspicious that these are pods from Alien. You know, with the thing. Okay, some of you got it. All right. I'm nervous standing in front of them. You know, that first Easter morning was a day just like today. It was. It was. Mary and the other women, they put their boots on, they went outside, they shoveled the snow on their way to the tomb. Just like the people on Friday. You don't know. You weren't there. It could have snowed. It doesn't say it did, but it could have. I mean, the odds are astronomically high that in the Middle East it would snow, but still, it could have. How about we concede that somewhere in the world, on that first Easter morning, there was snow? How about that? Yeah? You believe that? Jeez, room full of adults. But you see, we do that. We've learned to do that. This is what we do. When we hear a story like this, we hear a story that's so amazing and so incredible, we make it such a beautiful story, and we put it over here, and we look at it. It's so beautiful, and it's out here. It's not in here. We're holding it out here. That way we keep our options open. Maybe there wasn't snow the first Easter morning, but I guarantee you, even though it's not in the story, I guarantee there were kids. I guarantee there were children the first Easter morning. You know there were, because who's up before you on Easter morning? Of course. It might be because of the chocolate, but still. See, bear with me. Here's how I think it went. I think on that first Easter morning, I think the children were up first, and I think they ran over to where Jesus had been buried. They ran, they probably skipped, they were probably laughing, having a good time as they went. They probably were. And then when they got there, the angel was there, sitting there, the tomb was open. They probably had a nice little chat with the angel because, you know, that's what you do. It's an angel, you might as well just have a chat. And the angel was kind of like, "What are you doing here? Your kids? Why aren't you home and in bed with your families?" And the kids probably said, "Well, Jesus is here, so we thought we'd come and see him." Oh, okay. Well, just then, of course, the women showed up. And the first thing they did when they saw the angel was go, "It's an angel." Because you don't see angels every day. Kids were probably going, "Adults." And then one of them probably said to the women, "Why are you guys so sad?" And one of them said, "Well, because Jesus isn't with us anymore. He died on Friday." And one of the kids probably went, "No, he's not. What are you talking about? He's alive. He said he would be." no, now come on, just be. And then, of course, they realized there was an angel standing there. It's like, and then the angel says, he's alive. Just like he said, he's alive. Now go and tell everyone. And of course, the women immediately went, we should go and tell everyone. And the kids are like, you won't listen to us. Freaking angel standing there, and you'll believe that, but you won't believe us. At least we're real. And they turn, and there's Jesus. And what's the first thing that the women probably do? It's Jesus. Because they weren't expecting that. And the kids are probably like, okay, we told you, and then the angel told you, you turned around, he was standing right there, and you're freaked out. Are you kidding? And Jesus says, I'm alive. Go and tell the disciples. Go and tell the disciples, and I'll see them in Galilee. And so the women run off to tell the disciples. And of course, they tell the disciples, and the disciples go, we wish, right? In the meantime, the kids have sat down with Jesus. And they're like, I don't get it, Jesus. You said you were coming back. Why don't the adults believe you? Ever. Well, Jesus says, it's kind of like this. You know how I'm always saying, you have to come to God as like a child would. You have to come with that childlike wonder, that openness to belief, that openness to something truly amazing. And they're like, yeah. Well, adults aren't like that. They've learned over time. They've learned from their experience of life that you don't be like that. And the kid's like, adults, geez. No, Jesus says, no, you're going to be like that too. You are. Because you're going to have experiences in life that are going to make you question whether or not you should believe in stuff. And like, no, come on, Jesus. And then one little kid goes, okay, I get that. I hear what you're saying, Jesus. He was going to grow up to be a psychologist. I get what you're saying, but like, why'd you have to do that whole stuff on Friday? Like, we could tell you were hurting. We could tell that was bad. Like, we knew you were going to come back, but we could tell that was bad. Why'd you have to do that? And just like, well, you know how I used to get mad at people because they were just following me around and they want me to do, like, I'd feed a bunch of people, I'd heal some people, and I'd do some stuff like that, and then people would just follow me around hoping that I'd do more stuff like that, but they weren't really hearing what I was saying. You know how that used to make me mad? And the kid's like, oh yeah, of course, because like adults don't listen. We just discovered that with the angel thing, right? Well, it's kind of like that. See, adults need proof. They need something. Their life, all that experience in life tells them that they need to have something before they can really believe. And the kids are like, really? Really? That's what this is all about? And Jesus says, well, people will have different opinions. There will eventually be hundreds of different theories of atonement. Kids like, atone what? Exactly, says Jesus. People will believe all sorts of things, and maybe they'll focus on Good Friday. Maybe they'll focus on the fact that I died for them. But really, it's not about that. It's about being alive for them. And the kids are like, well, of course, we got that, because you told us that like months ago. We already got that. But that's what it is, Jesus says. That's the thing. Sometimes adults need something because they need to be able to hang on to something to believe. So I did all this so that they would remember that they can believe in all of the things I said and all of the things I taught them. So that from now on, when I'm not here in person, they'll still know that they can believe all of those things that I taught about loving each other, no matter what happens. All of those things that I taught everybody about loving each other and caring for each other, all those things I taught about how important it is to love everyone, especially your enemies. Everyone. People will know they can believe that. That it wasn't just something I said or something that we tell stories about. They'll know they can believe because this happened. Nobody comes back from the dead. Nobody. And yet here I am. That helps people believe. That gives them something to hang on to, so they'll know all that other stuff is good too. And then they'll start doing it. And then they'll start doing it, and they'll start pointing at each other, and they're going, Jesus is alive in you. Jesus is alive in you. Jesus is alive in you. Jesus is alive in everyone. The kids are like, wow, adults are really dim. And just like, no, it's not that. It's not that. When you grow up, you'll think the same way. Because as we grow up, somewhere along the line, our sense of wonder, our sense of amazement, our sense of questioning, it just, somehow we lose it. It's like, we're never going to lose that. We're going to hold on to that, Jesus. And we're going to hold on to that because you said we should. Exactly, said Jesus. Exactly. Hang on to your sense of wonder and amazement, especially about this story of new life. Jesus is alive in all of us. Now, I'm going to tell you, this story was inspired by a kid asking this very question. It was inspired by a little person wondering, why is it that God brought back Jesus, but God doesn't bring back anyone else? Like, if I were to die tomorrow, why wouldn't God let me come back and be with my family? Now, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, oh, kids and their questions. So you might as well ask, where do babies come from? Except you have an answer for that, don't you? Of course you do. What's your answer to that the question about why doesn't God bring back everybody if God can bring back Jesus? Well, here it is. And you know, we're all thinking that. We're all wondering that question. Anytime we lose someone in our lives, quite often the very first thing we wonder is, why did God let that happen? And then your adult takes over and goes, well, hopefully, God doesn't let that happen, nor does God make it happen. We have our time, and our time is our time. And the story about Jesus, though, reminds us that all of those things that Jesus taught, we can believe because Jesus lives. Jesus lives in all of us. So go out and do that. And whenever anybody asks you the question, you now have an answer, right? Is Jesus alive? How is Jesus alive? Why did God make just Jesus alive? So that we know we can believe. Jesus is alive in you.